Hey, I'm Matt from Rephonic, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use Rephonic to find podcasts, then view their stats, their audience demographics, and contact information, and also manage your outreach all in one platform. You might be looking to book podcast guest spots or run an advertising campaign, or maybe even use the data to produce better podcasts and find cross promos. In all of these cases, Rephonic slashes your research time and makes the process super straightforward. So I'm going to walk you through the main features of Rephonic that makes this possible. Okay, so when you log into Rephonic and land on the home page, you'll see this search bar. And here you can search by topic, title, publisher, or episode. I like to start with topic. So let's try searching for something like, investing. Investing, enter. What's great is that Rephonic doesn't just scan podcast titles or show notes for your keyword. It also scans episode transcripts. So the results are really comprehensive. At the bottom here, you'll see that there are over 10,000 results. That's a lot, right? So to refine your search, you can apply filters to narrow down the results by as much or as little as you like. All of this filter data is viewable on every podcast page too, but we'll get onto that in a moment here. So some commonly used and probably the most helpful filters I recommend are listener numbers. I'll set mine to at least 5,000, right? And this is really helpful because it means that you're not going to waste time pitching shows that are way too big, or in this case, way too small. You're only going to pitch shows that align with your or your client's level of authority or experience. Then there's the active filter. This saves you so much time because you can filter out shows that haven't published any new episodes recently, right? So only podcasts that have published in the last 60 days. Done. And then there's the guest filter to only see shows that accept guests. You can also, you can click more if you don't see all these, but you can filter by audience demographics like professions or age groups, for example. I'm just gonna leave mine like this for now, but apply whatever filters you want to make sure you're only seeing podcasts that are the perfect right fit. So if you see a show that you want to look into, just click on the name and it'll go land on the podcast page. So let's do invest like the best right here. And this is where Rephonic gets really useful because if you're looking to book guests or ad spots, you'll want to research each opportunity thoroughly. So there are 6 tabs of data here that I'm going to quickly run through, okay? First, we've got the overview tab, which I'm already on, where you'll see data like estimated listeners per episode and monthly listens. Then down here, we've got latest episodes, recent topics, YouTube channels, links and stats, all their social media links and followers. Then down here, we've got related shows, which is super helpful. If I click on the 3 dots here, I can even see this cool 3D graph. This is great for getting a better idea of the show's ecosystem and which other podcasts share a similar audience. You can kind of see this interconnected world of different podcasts. And you can even click on related shows and check out their stats if you want to. Very cool. I'm just gonna head back to the podcast page. So now we're back on the podcast page. And one other cool thing I wanted to mention is here under latest episodes, if you wanna dig deeper into a specific episode, just hit more episodes here. And then you can use the search tool. I'm gonna search for real estate. Here we can see all the episodes where the term real estate is mentioned. So we'll take a look at this one, Josh Kushner. We'll click on it. So now that I've clicked on it, I get a full transcript, which you can search for your keyword or phrase. So you can see here the transcript. Boom. Full transcript of that episode, which is cool. For example, if I want to find all the parts where they mention real estate, I just type it up here in the search. Real estate again. And you'll see all these snippets with the timestamps, which you can just click to play the episode from that moment. This transcript search is especially helpful if you're looking to book guest spots, as you can see if a topic has already been covered and what exactly was said. Maybe you have something to add to it. Maybe you have something to build on. Maybe you want to reference that. Who knows? All right, so let's click out of here, go back. So going back into this page here of this individual episode, you'll see the topics that were covered in this episode, a really clear summary, the host and the guest, who the sponsors were, key moments, some questions asked by the host, then some more info, even like the tone of the episode. The next tab here that we're gonna cover is the audience tab. Here you'll find detailed insights into the show's listeners, things like gender, age, profession, interest, income, relationship status, etc., which is perfect for making sure you're pitching shows that match your target audience. For this one, we can see that the audience skews heavily male. and is predominantly based in the United States. But then also some in Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, Germany, etc. They're most likely to be investment analysts or entrepreneurs and have a bachelor's degree. All right, so back up to our tabs here. Third of our 6 tab is people. Here you'll see the host's details, a typical guest profile, and then a list of previous guests, along with what the focus of the episode was and why they were a relevant guest for the show. This is of course helpful if you're looking to pitch yourself or someone else as a guest. Then we've got the sponsors tab, where you'll find past sponsors, links to the episodes that correlate with that, where their ads appeared, and the call to action, which is useful if you're looking to shape your own ad campaign. And then further down here at the bottom, you'll see some of these cross promos. So you'll see a list of times where other podcasts were mentioned on the show. All right, back up to our next tab here is feedback. On the feedback tab, you can see listener reviews pulled straight from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other channels as well. And then Rephonic calculates an engagement score from this data. This one got a 73. Listeners are pretty engaged. You'll also see any key themes in the reviews to save you from reading through them all to try and get a sense of public opinion. All right, last on the list here, let's go to the charts tab. The charts tab shows where the podcast ranks on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, if it ranks at all. What's great about this is you can filter by platform, country, and category. All right, so let's say you decide that this show is a good match for what you're looking for. You can create a list when viewing a podcast page by clicking Add to List right here. Then hit Create a New List. We'll call it Investing. Hit Create, boom. That show will be added to the list, and you can then go back and keep adding more and more shows. So we've added them to our investing list, but now let's say you're ready to reach out. You just hit the contacts button here in the top right corner of the podcast page. And of course, getting reliable and up-to-date contact information is probably super important for you. So you'll see all of the relevant emails, all the relevant socials, and even website contact pages right here. And if you can't find the contact info that you're looking for, you can use the concierge service. Just right here where it says find contacts for me, just click that, and Rephonic's search team will look for better contacts for you. So if you're ready to pitch a show, click right here, send a pitch at the top of the contact section. You want to choose the purpose of the pitch. So I'm going to pretend I'm trying to get a colleague booked as a guest. So I'm going to pitch someone as a guest. You'll see these different options. You can either use a pre-written template or create one from scratch. I'm going to use a template, all right? You'll see a few listed here, which you can preview and then select if you want. I'll just go ahead and use the top one here. Company team member with valuable insights. This is a great starting point, but of course you want to edit it. You can add your own flavor and then choose a contact down here at the bottom. So I choose a contact, hello at Girls That Invest. Then I can just hit create email. And when you click create email, you can either open it directly in your email app, or you can copy the email to your clipboard, and I'll just copy it for now. Copy the pitch to my clipboard. You can then mark the show as pitched by hitting this button right here. I sent my pitch. Awesome. So let's go back to the list I created, okay? You can view your list by heading back to the home page and hitting the list button right here at the top. So I'm gonna go into my list for investing. So what you can see is these pipeline staged drop downs, so you can keep track of every pitch and whereabouts in the booking process you're at with each show. So we just marked a show as pitched, but when I send a follow-up, I can change the status to followed up. Boom. The list will automatically update, and then I can filter, by status up here. So I'll click on followed up. Oh, there it is, the one show I followed up on. I click on follow up and I see that show's there now, right? Imagine if you have 100, 200 shows that you're pitching, organizing it this way is a game changer and a lifesaver. So now I'm gonna show you how to create a private note that just you and your Rephonic team can see. For example, you might have sent a pitch and got a reply saying they'll be looking to book new guests in 3 months or something like that. And you wanna make sure that the rest of the team is on the same page. First, you have to click into the podcast. And when viewing that, you'll see the add a note button here. So you click on it, you add your note, we'll say, replied saying they will be booking in 3 months. And click save, boom. Then that note will show at the top of the podcast page here for your Rephonic team to see, right there. So now back to my list, I'll just go to all. Imagine I've finalized my list of shows I'm gonna pitch on behalf of a client. I can share this list with them, even if they don't have a Rephonic account, by hitting this share button right here. So I click share, I copy the link. They'll get read-only access so they can then check out the shows if they want, or you can share the list with members of your Rephonic team using, this section below. By doing this, they'll be able to add or remove podcasts or update the pipeline status for shows, etc. You can even go back and you can export the list as a CSV, including email addresses, social media accounts, listener numbers, your notes, etc. And this is helpful if you want to upload the data to Excel, Google Sheets, or your CRM, for example. All right, now I've shown you how to create a static list, but you can also create a dynamic list in Rephonic. There are around 18,000 new podcasts launched every month, and that is a lot to keep on top of if you're not using this feature. So just head up to the home screen here, back to home. Again, search for your keyword. I'm going to search for meditation this time. Meditation, enter. Did I spell it right? I did. Then apply whatever filters you want. I'm going to keep mine simple and just apply the listeners filter, for more than 2,000 listeners. How about 3,000? And then I want shows with at least, let's say at least 50 episodes. So at least 50 episodes, done. Then I just go over here to save. I click save and I give this list a name. Meditation, create. Once it's saved, this list will continue to update automatically. For instance, maybe there's a great podcast that has 3,000 listeners but only has 30 episodes at the moment. As soon as it hits 50 episodes, I'll see it in the dynamic list that I just created. Another way to make sure you don't miss out on opportunities is to create an alert so you get an email whenever your keyword is mentioned in a podcast episode. So to do that, you go click on My Account up here at the top of the page and then Alerts. Hit Create an Alert and type your keyword or phrase. You might want to track someone's name, maybe a client or a competitor, or the name of a brand, or just a topic. So I'm going to monitor shows for mentions of Bill Gates. So I'll type his name in here in quotation marks so that it is an exact match, right? So it doesn't just search Bill or just search Gates. Then you can choose to get notified either daily or weekly. I'm going to stick with daily here. And you can preview here exactly the type of notification you'll receive in your inbox. So click Create Alert, and it's done. The great thing about Rephonic is that everything is on one platform. So you don't need to waste time switching between different websites and different apps. You can do everything from discovering the right shows and researching audience data to organizing your lists and getting the right contact information to pitch them. I recommend checking out our other videos or our blog for more tips on how to get the most out of Rephonic and how to run the most successful podcast guesting or advertising campaign possible.